Hello Cancer, welcome back to my channel. I am Mariana and I will do the vibes inside for you today. Just smudging a little bit here for you. It's interesting, Cancer. And I'm jumping right in, no spiel today, I'm just going right in. I actually feel that's very much you also at this time, Cancer, that it's like no time for small talk somehow, right? And it's like the message that I got for you, Cancer, was actually a little bit like everything you communicate is so strong, but it's not words. Like, I don't know if you're putting up a stance. It feels a little bit like that, but it's almost like I feel like a psychological kind of stance, but I still get the feeling you're not saying anything. Like words, silence are stronger than words. That kind of feeling that I get the feeling because I took this color today and it's kind of, it doesn't really represent like a chakra. And I took, as a symbol today, I took like the little branches, but there's no rose here, right? It's like the rose knot has been taken off. And somehow this feels a little bit like this is what you present to people at the moment. Like, they may still recognize you as a rose, but it's like there's something not there. Something is not there. It's like, and I get the feeling like you're shielding it. This is what they get, right? Like they get this, it's not ugly, it's not bad, it's not really anything. But it's not the real Cancer, right? It's like they get only to see, well, maybe the thorns of something. Or maybe this is the state you feel you're in. A state of, a sense of colorlessness. A stage of, it's almost like realizing that something has been, like the rose bud has been like the beauty of you could say, as a full-blown rose would be it's the rose flower, right? But this is missing. Like it's not there. It's almost like a recognition that some of your beauty, the utmost beauty of you, is not there. Either you realize that, or someone is, or this is what you choose. Like you choose to go through life or with certain people. You show them only this, right? You show them only this. And this feeling. Like they only get this kind of like or they can't connect with you, or this is something you realize that maybe it's the feeling that I only get the thorns from someone. I never get like to see I never get to connect with like the real beauty of something, I only get the leftovers, or I only get the thorns, right? It's like a connection maybe with someone where something that may have affected your heart, something that may have influenced a lot of decisions in your life. Maybe going through life feeling like this. Like there's no real strong color. There's no real strong... I've had that come up a little bit like compass. There's no real strong feeling of maybe inner beauty. Like no real inner strong feeling of self, maybe. Like it's almost like I only have the energy to keep this up, right? I don't have the energy also to create a beautiful flower because I don't feel like a beautiful flower, or I don't feel resourceful. I don't feel I have what it takes. So this is what I get. I get this blurred kind of feeling. It could be that you it could be that this is what you choose to present in a certain situation, right? That you choose to present in a certain situation. This is what people get from you. Or this is truly what you feel inside. Like a feeling that there's a hole in your heart. And if that hole wasn't there, you would be the flower, right? You would like have the resources to create the beautiful flower. But something feel blurred, or this is what you show someone, right? That they only get this from you because they made a hole in your heart, or they hurt you somehow. And I strongly get this feeling of no communication, or like block communication, or walls up or something, because because of this, right? It's like the blurriness, or it comes across as like a vague image, like they only get, you only present like this. What is this? Like it could be the feeling that it's very, very superficial. Like Cancers, you normally have a great heart, and you're very compassionate and loving and caring, and it's like that's not what is seen here, right? The beauty of you, Cancer, is not seen. It's not revealed. It's not revealed, like you're hiding it, or you're keeping it safe somehow. And this is what they get, right? They get this. And that's what I feel like. This is a statement, right? This is like, this speaks louder than words. That's what I get from you. This speaks louder than words. And you're not saying anything. It's like you chose not to speak. It's not that you can't speak. You chose not to. I don't think necessarily it's because it's like you do it in a with like bad intentions in that sense. It's like a statement, like a silent rebellion feeling. You rebel against something, I think, Cancer, but you're doing it in a very, it's like you have withdrawn something. and keeping it safe, right? You're not showing it, or someone is not showing their love for you, right? You only get this from them. That's what I feel like. And of course, well, if you're new to my channel, thank you for giving this a try. I read about, well, dynamics within yourself. I read about the vibes inside. There could be an element of ego and soul confrontation, like you have these inner arguments going on, and sometimes I touch upon that in my readings. Typically, I feel like there could be something about when you're going through something that can be described as an ego death. Maybe some of my readings will help you. They are general, of course. They can and will not be for everyone out there. But if they resonate, please like, share, subscribe to my channel, and so on. All this good stuff. So, okay, I go back to the reading now. This was just, well, yeah, my normal kind of introduction. Again, that there's some kind of element that, as I said in the beginning, it's like this speaks louder than words. People cannot ignore that. There's something about you, Cancer, if you resonate with this, there's something about your, like a vague image. Either you feel you have a vague image, like your identity is vague due to something here, or this is what you show people, like they only get this from you because you are not ready to show them your real flower, right? They only certain very special people get to see that. Yeah, and again, it's very silent, highly emotional. Like that, there's a lot of emotions that drive this. This is driven by emotion. The choice made to uphold whatever this is emotional. Okay. So whether you're dealing with someone or whether this is you, or even if this is a dynamic going on between you and someone else, that you both uphold something like this towards each other. I don't know that yet. This was a flyer, so have a look. Gaia, wisdom, knowledge, spiritual understanding. Yeah, and this is mother energy, right? This, and that's you, Cancer, right? You're driven by the moon. Moon is like secretive, mysterious, but it's also regarded as the mother, right? The mother energy. The home. Gaia is our home. Like, every human being lives on the planet. But today it comes a little bit across as someone trying to disguise themselves. Like this one is trying to disguise herself as a tree, right? Like she tries to maybe use her wisdom to blend in. I get the feeling of blending in. Blending in. Even though she's blue here, right? So blue is more watery perhaps, or it's more, you would say, third eye oriented, more air-like maybe. Maybe you actually have a lot to say, but you say it in a very it actually comes across as demonstrative. It's very demonstrative. It's a demonstrative silence. I don't know how to explain that otherwise. It's like you blend in, but I feel like there could be a lot on your mind or a lot on your heart, perhaps, like a lot of watery, but you're trying to like blend in. There could be a lot of mind activity going on, but you're not sharing it. Again, this blending in. I just blend in with the surroundings, but I go through something. Or you feel like you are one of a kind in an environment that you're not really connecting with, but you try to just blend in. There's something you're not showing here. There's something you're not This was just a flyer, but there's something you're not showing, or something you're not saying. Again, I think you have words for this, but you're not speaking it. It comes across as this vague image, like people cannot read you, right? They cannot read what's underneath it. Yeah, they cannot read what's underneath it because you have disguised yourself, or you blend in that well somehow. You've managed to blend in that well. Blend in that well. And now I suddenly think about the word choice I used to describe some of the tarot cards in the first readings this time around, Aries and Taurus, because I talked about a well. And I said something about you learn to blend in that well. So maybe it's not about blending in good, but you blend your well in the group. Or what you found at the bottom of the well for you, a wisdom maybe here, but maybe also a lot of emotions. You are actually blending it in, but it's not seen. Interesting, Cancer. Like you're blending something in to a group, perhaps. And you're doing it that well. It's vague. So yeah. This is interesting, Cancer. Like you are messaging something here. Your silence is messaging something about pain, maybe. About a rose that could never blossom, right? You're messaging something. But you're doing it that well that it's, well, again, you're doing it so good that it's actually not detected because you still operate as if you're part of this group. Do you get my point? It's like you send a message. I think you are a channel, Cancer, for Gaia energy here. Gaia is changing, right? There's something she doesn't no longer wants to put up with. But you're doing it so subtle. You're doing it so quietly somehow. But still demonstratively. I can't explain this in another way. You're doing it subtle, unspoken, very moon-like, right? Very moon-like, Cancer. This is your environment, right? This is your. I actually feel this speaks a lot. Again, it speaks louder than it speaks louder than words. It's like she's doing something here. Blue also connects with throat chakra, which is about communication, speech, words. But I get almost like it's a telepathic. It's a kind of otherworldly. It goes with the it's like emotional words. And I get the feeling like it's in my breath. It's in my, not as like a bad breath or something, but every time I breathe, I send out a message, right? Every time I breathe, I send out a message here. There's something I no longer give, I feel like. There's something I no longer give just like that. I no longer just give it. Not because I want to hold back. Again, Mother Energy doesn't want to hold back, but maybe Mother Energy doesn't want to hold back. She wants to give. She wants to. But you could say she can give to a point. If she is about to be exhausted, she has no more energy left, right? She has no more. This is where she can no longer produce the flower, right? She can no longer produce the flower, or she doesn't want to, because she may be exhausted, right? The devotion, the nurture, the care, the love, the open heart, the open arms. She can give. But I get this feeling of like feeling empty, or again this vague, like feeling drained, or you are putting up an image of feeling drained somehow. Maybe not, like I kind of feel like there's something underneath it, and the first color that actually wanted to show itself was orange. It's almost like if I do like this, like you, that this is kind of underneath it, right? I try to do this. It's kind of like this is underneath a surface that you try to uphold something, and but it's vague. It's like you barely can do this. You barely can do this. And it's because there's something underneath it that has not been dealt with or expressed or something. You keep up an appearance, or you pretend to blend in, but it's in a vague state, or it comes out as not very... I think you get my point, right? It comes out as a very like blurred or vague expression. It's not the usual beautiful Cancer energy. It's not, it doesn't, it's so much, it's much, much less. And the reason for that is because underneath it all, there's a wounding here. This is the womb, right? It's like, it's almost like she's protecting something in the womb, that something is happening here that needs to be well, it's interesting because the womb represents life, right? Vessel. This is where life is created, where life is built. And to do that, the pregnant woman needs to take care of herself, needs to prioritize herself, needs to sleep enough, needs to eat right. She needs to gather her resources, right? But this is not what I see. I see like either I see that someone is extremely exhausting, building something here, or restoring something, healing something. Either they are extremely exhausted by it, so that this is what people see. They get this vague image of something very wounded here. They barely have the energy to uphold this, right? And not at all flowering, like not at all thriving, not at all seeing themselves as beauty or beautiful, not at all showing like their true inner beauty here. So either someone is really struggling with something and therefore only this comes through, or this is deliberate, like this is a choice. I get more like it's a choice because someone is doing something here, healing something here, but you don't want anyone to intervene in this process, or you don't want anyone to see what's going on here. So you keep up this. This is what people get from you at the moment. It's like you are in it's almost like Cancer, whoever I'm speaking to here, has decided to pause their love, right? They have decided to pause their shine because of something here. Because they want to use their resources on something else here. That something else needs its attention. Or again, as I said, if you are actually pregnant, I must say the pregnancy is wearing at you. Like it's difficult, right? That would be a difficult pregnancy. So again, if this is a healing process you're going through something that requires a lot of attention, and therefore there's something else that you can't also, or you choose not to like put so much attention on. This can be, let's say, it's almost like within, so without, right? That if you feel terrible within, you will probably have like maybe this vague image of who you actually are. Maybe you don't see yourself as a rose, right? Maybe you only see yourself as the thorns. So what you are facing inside is also representative on the outside. Like literally your appearance maybe, or again, if you're struggling with something, or you put a lot of energy on something internal, you're not putting the same energy on something external. And that is why people see this from you. They see you are detached, they see you are not engaging, you're not showing your usual flower maybe. Like you have withdrawn, paused some of your love, I feel like. You kind of pretend to still be there, but you are in another process somehow. That's what I feel like. Because something is going on here. Like something is going on underneath, right? That's very moon-like. It is something not seen, not spoken, not said, not voiced. It's secretive, it's mysterious maybe. And people only get this from you. Like they don't get much, or this is another person you're dealing with, right? That something is underneath it all that takes their energy, or that takes their commitment. So this is what you get from them, right? Something is going on underneath. But I still get the feeling it's a choice. Like I choose not to invest in my appearance because actually I feel like crap, right? I don't feel beautiful. I don't feel I deserve love. I don't feel like I'm worthy, or so on. And that is seen on the outside, like something like that. But it could also be that you are in a transformative process underneath it all here. Exactly about that identity. And in that time, you just blend in as well as you can. You work on healing something. And in the meantime, this is what people get from you. They don't get much, I get the feeling. You're not. This is more important than what you usually used to give on the outside. That's what I feel like. So a vague, maybe withdrawn, not very shining outside Cancer, and something quite important is done maybe on the inside, or is going on the inside for you, Cancer. At least if you resonate with what I'm trying to somehow explain here. And still I get this like it's a choice, like you choose to be silent. You choose to have this vague image. Like it could be because of revenge, right? It could be because of you are angry maybe. It could be that you feel an enormous bitterness and not feeling you want to give anything to anyone, right? That you're kind of done. I'm kind of pausing my shine here for a minute. Maybe to put shine on your inside instead. That you decide to put your light, your love, your care, your self-care, your nurture on the inside instead of on the outside. People may view it as a sense of weakness, like you are in an exhausted state of being. Maybe you are, but take that how it resonates. Overall energy, remembrance, surfacing of past feelings and emotions. So this can be part of it, right? That something comes to the surface here. Something comes from here to the surface. And it leaves you that you maybe you realize something. That your rose was cut off at some point. And it left you in this state of feeling like you were this blurred, vague kind of not important somehow to someone, right? Remembering something here. Past feelings and emotions. So remembering something, I get the feeling it actually leaves you a bit, I wouldn't say numb, but it leaves you with the feeling that maybe feeling like this, right? That that I'm like this. Like I barely have the energy to uphold this, and I don't at all have the energy to make the flower. The flower that actually, it could even be the feeling that I don't believe I'm a rose, right? I don't believe I'm a rose. So I only make the thorns, right? You get my point? It's like, I see the rose as like, that's the statement of the rose. It's like, I have this beauty, but treat me gently, otherwise I poke you, right? I have thorns here. Like, treat me gently. You can only have access to me. You can only like allow yourself to connect with me if you also consider that I need to be treated gently. You cannot just like take me from the side of the road. I will sting you here if you do that. Like the rose requires a sense of grace. Like respect me, right? Respect all of me. Also respect that, yeah, I have this beautiful glow with the rose, but I also have thorns. Like, but here it feels almost like only the thorns have been visible somehow. This is the only way you may have seen yourself. The beauty was never really evolved somehow. Maybe due to something here, right? Maybe due to something. And maybe this is what people, like your aura was expressing this. The aura is expressing, I have thorns here, but no beauty, right? Maybe you remember something that could have taken that away, that has somehow influenced you to forget about your rose flower. Or even to throw it away. or who took it, right? Who took it, or who cut it off somehow. Who cut it off somehow. Your sense that you were beautiful, graceful, lovely, that you smell well. Interesting, I thought I talked about this bad breath feeling. That you smell good, right? A rose smells beautiful, lovely. Like the rose, the leaves of the rose bud is extremely soft. The rose is an expression of love, right? A red rose. It's this beautiful, vulnerable flower that needs to be treated gently and with care and caution. I know I believe there's something about if you have a rose bush in your garden, you have to tend to it, right? Like the rose garden, you have to keep the rose garden well nurtured. You have to tend to the roses. I even believe some say you have to speak to them, right? They have to be well fed, they have to be or nurtured, fertilized, they have to be watered. Like any other plant, but I just get the feeling the rose, it's like it. If you recognize the grace of the rose, you would also want to attend to it. You would want to attend to it. Again, this feeling of someone feeling exhausted, it's like the rose can only produce roses if it's well nurtured, right? If it has been cared for, attended to, maybe talked to, right? The soil needs to be right for a rose to flower. It could be the feeling that you are a rose, but you pretend to be some other kind of flower. Again, a rose requires a certain grace, respect, gentleness. Maybe there's a part of you that was too sensitive, maybe, and you were not treated like the rose. So you learned somehow to blend in, but you have always seen yourself as different, right? A different color here. And I just get the feeling like this is still this feeling like you could be this beautiful red rose emanating love, right? Mother love. But I get the feeling this is what comes. Like this is not a red color, and interesting enough, I have red, a red blouse on today. But it's like this is what comes, right? Maybe you have this aura right now that you can't show that kind of maybe vulnerable love, like deep, vulnerable love at this point in time, Cancer. And maybe it's because you remember something here. like she's laying here in the water, right? It comes across a little bit like she's the crab, right? She's you, Cancer. So I see her a little bit like she's crawling on land. And when she does that, when she crawls back on land, she remembers something. It's a little bit like she has been out on the ocean here, swimming. Maybe had a deep dive out here, I don't know. But she comes across a little bit like a mermaid, right? And then she's drawn back to the shore, I think. And now she's laying here in between the water and the land. It's almost like she's coming back on land. And when she does that, something happens here. So what does that mean? It could be the feeling that you are re-entering some kind of scene. It could be the feeling maybe you have been like very caught up in your emotions and never really felt like you had land underneath your feet. Like you may never have been really grounded. And now you're coming to something that feels more grounded. And when you do that, it's like something comes back here. But I want to say she could visit any kind of shore. Maybe it's a specific land that you visit here. That when you touch upon this land, or I would say place, maybe a place, you have some kind of remembrance. Maybe you are I don't know if you are visiting someone or like she could have been swept up at any shore, right? Or she could have chosen which shore she wanted to visit here. I still feel she's in the water, like she hasn't crawled up here yet. But it could also be the feeling that if I do, like just laying here is enough. Here you remember something, I think. You haven't really gone up yet. There's also something about this, the change from being in the water and being on ground. So if I take the elements of being like a water element and an earth element, right? You are the crab, right? So you have a strong relationship with water. You have a strong relationship with feelings. Very moon regulated, right? We can shift. I'm Cancer Sun, so we can shift our emotions. And sometimes putting that aside and becoming very earthy, so very grounded, like she stands in the forest here. It's like taking yourself out of the water, which is your element, and becoming very grounded on land here, in the midst of the forest. It's totally different environments to be in. So I get the feeling someone is coming from the emotional, like a very emotional, watery realm to the land. And arriving on the land, so when you, it could be the feeling that it could even be like I'm, like you remember something that may even relate to the point of getting born. This is laying in the vessel inside your mother, in the water, in the womb. And this kind of represents this idea that now she is giving birth, and you get born into land, right? You get born into, you're no longer inside the womb of the mother in the water. You are now on land. And being on land is an entirely different experience than being surrounded by water in the womb of mother. So it's like coming to an entirely new land, or like learning to be a new person somehow. And I get that maybe we just say, yeah, but all humans land on land. All humans are born from the water inside the mother, and we will all be swept on shore. And we arrive in this realm where everything is quite earthy, right? We need to learn to walk on ground. We need to learn where you may better like swimming, actually, right? You may better thrive in this more weightless sense of state. Where here you may feel like the weight, like the gravity weight, a lot more on your body maybe. But still needing to learn to blend in, but never really feeling that you belonged somehow. Take that how it resonates. And that could also be like, it's like the rose, but there's something about, and look at how she's covered with all these green leaves, like I have it here. But it could actually also be the other way around, that you put yourself back in the water after a long period of pretending here, being on land, right? So this is you laying here in the water with the leaves here around your head. This is what you learned about yourself, that you only figured out to be like this. You only figured out to be like this. And maybe you need to take yourself back into the water here to figure out. Maybe you need some of this to figure out more about why you only got to this stage. It's almost like you only developed to a certain stage. Like I get the feeling like there's more to you, Cancer. Like you developed only to a certain stage. Like the real blossoming of you never got to evolve somehow, or it was never supported, it was never given, it was never a choice. And to get that, you need to get back to the water, I feel like. maybe the water of mother, like maybe you need to re-mother yourself here. If your mother is not alive anymore, you may need to re-mother yourself here or re-parent yourself somehow. Because I feel like what you experienced, what you have been experiencing on land, like in your life, it never really was what you learned or what you got attached to here was not really you, I feel like. I still get the feeling of pretending or blending in, like it was not. The blending in also tells me something about maybe holding something back, like not becoming big somehow. It's like you were shown not to develop your rosebud, right? You were told never to blossom, because if you did, you would be like attractive, perhaps. You would be very attractive. You would be something that you would become someone or something that would be so attractive that that you would be wanted or needed, right? Others would be drawn to you. Others would want your they would be drawn to you somehow. You would be able to attract something to you if you decided to be the rose, right? It's almost like growing up in a rose garden of rose bushes that never blossom. Do you get my point? It's like a rose garden where it's not appreciated to blossom. Like an environment where it's not appreciated to blossom. And this is what you learned. You were not supported in blossoming. You never learned it. You don't know how to make that flower because nobody taught you. Nobody showed you. You never saw their roses. They held it back. It could be a feminine thing here, right? That there's something about getting an attract, like becoming attractive in a certain way was undesired or unwanted. Because if you did that, like you shine too brightly or you become the center of someone else's attention, so you learn somehow to blend in, maybe not understanding it quite. Because again, Cancer, you are a light, right? You are in, like, the real you is a flower, right? The real you is nurturing and caring and soft and beautiful and giving and something that people like we all want that kind of mother. We all want that kind of friend. But it's almost like you never got the chance to figure this out. You never got the chance or the support to rise, I want to say, to rise up. And here I can even talk about ascension, right? It's almost like Gaia, like our planet never got to rise. Like she was held, or she was kept in a certain dimensional field. She never got to rise up and show her entire beauty. As the feminine. And here I talk about, we could say, mothers. I talk about feminines, those who identify as feminine, right? That there's something about not peaking or not showing your most beautiful side, right? You are not taught how to, or maybe never supported to show your beautiful side. I'm not quite sure whether this was like a protective thing. Maybe someone didn't want you to be, maybe they saw your beauty while you were growing up and they said, oh, she could become very beautiful here if I don't stop her, right? But why should you be stopped? There could be something about like a protective thing, like whatever may have been done here was to protect you somehow. Was to protect you from being abused, maybe. But you didn't, this was not how you experienced it. You experienced it as they didn't love you, or they didn't like you. They like you were not good enough, right? So again, I don't know exactly how this was. It's almost like keeping a rose from blossoming. So that would be like every time they try to blossom, you pick it off, you take it off. Every time they try to show some kind of grace, you take it. Every little small peak of something or try, you take it and you just nip it off here. Every time it tries to. What would that be like? Could that be criticism, or could it be, don't think too highly of yourself, you're not that beautiful? You know, like all this down playing or bullying, maybe. It could come across a little bit like bullying. Somehow I get the feeling, though, that there is something about protection here. Wanting to protect you. But at the same time, never allowing you to like develop, like never supporting you also in developing, like your true beauty never got to It could be the feeling that every time you tried, like let's say you were a young girl, and even as a young girl, everyone could see that you were actually extremely beautiful, like you had beautiful features also. And there could be a worry that when she grows up and becomes a teenager, she could become like a real beauty. And if that happens, how do we protect her, right? How do we protect this rose? As parents, for instance, how do we do that? We can't do that unless we kind of hide her, or we we are not allowing her to show it, right? So how do we stop her from developing her rose? How do we stop her from that? It could be even this idea that because the rose attracts the bee, right? The color and the smell attracts the bee to it. It could even be something like we can never allow her to become sexual. We can never allow her to have that thing about her. We want to protect her, but it's done in a way where you never got to see yourself as someone who could be attractive, I think. And again, this can become an internal process, because there can be this feeling again, I don't know how to make the flower to attract the person in my life that I want. So I go out there now, being an adult, I go out there on the dating scene, but I don't seem to attract anyone. Right? It's like people get it's almost like I repel them, because they only get to feel my thorns here. I don't know how to maybe let's say I don't know how to blossom. I don't even know how to make a little bud here, rose bud. So how am I going to attract someone if I have nothing to offer, right? I have nothing that seems of value to a partner. I only have the potential, but I don't really have the flower. So I never get to attract the right partner somehow. They seem to kind of just spin around me and go towards someone else. It's like I can stand in the midst of a room having the nicest dress on, but still people go around me somehow. Do you get my point? It's like that feeling that something must be off with me somehow. That there's something off with me. Not knowing what it is, because you have never learned that you could be something else. You were never told this. You were never... And that could be what is stirring here, right? You were never told you were beautiful. You were never told that you had grace. You never told that you were... Especially feminines, I really believe that young girls, like they need some kind of affirmation, especially from the father. They need to be told that they are beautiful. They need to be given hugs, right? They need to be given eye contact. They need to be given holding hands while walking down the street, right? They need the contact somehow. If you never got that, how on earth should you know that you are a beautiful rose here? It's like your identity, being a woman perhaps, being a woman, your identity being a woman feels vague. It feels blurred, or like not the right color, or not the right flower, right? Like I may try to produce a flower here, but it never becomes a rose, right? And to figure out what that is, you may need to go back, like you may need to go back to the water. Maybe literally imagine like the water of your mother, like Did she feel like me, right? Is this like a Gaia thing? Is this a feminine thing? Not only for you, Cancer, but is this a feminine thing? That the feminine doesn't hold the... And again, here I'm not gender specific. It's not about always the mother, like a feminine mother, a female. Of course, a female gives birth. That's how the body is designed. But you can have a father who is very feminine, right? Who is very emotional, or the most emotional in that dynamic, and a very career-driven mother, perhaps, right? So take that how it resonates. But the feminine energy, could it be that somehow the womb of the feminine never really gets to blossom, right? It never gets to believe in its beauty. So if that's the case of the womb, the vessel of the mother, could there be something inherited here? Could there be something that was given to the child even before it was born, through the water, the emotions of the mother, right? If she was like you, maybe she never got to know her flower as well. And in this element there is something else, because it makes it difficult for you to attract something. So the stuff that you may try to attract in your life, like a partner, love, wealth, I talk always about the Empress is someone who can attract things to her because of her beauty, right? Because of her, like, she has a grace. She is like the rose. And she stands with her flower, right? The flower is the one that gets people attracted to her somehow. She also has thorns, meaning boundaries, perhaps. She wants to be treated delicately. She doesn't want any kind of rude or behavior or bully behavior around her. She's often depicted as a pregnant woman, actually. She knows that what she wants to create in life, it takes time, it takes nurture, it takes care. So she becomes like the rose flower, right? She stands with her rose flower. And she knows that as long as I am nurtured, as long as I take care of myself here, I will be able to attract to me what I need. Because of my glow, because of my flower, because of what I emanate. So there's something about the aura here, I think, where instead of pretending to be something you're not, maybe you should actually step out and show who you are, like the flower. But I also get the feeling you can only do that by like taking your rosebud flowers here with you into the water and realize the cut off flower may come from my mother, right? It may be because it's almost inherited here. At the bottom of the deck, I get the dream. So, and the moon here, right? Okay, something is revealed, insight and breakthrough. These two are they talk about some of the same stuff here. Resurfacing of past feelings and emotions, something about remembrance here. a remembrance, maybe from dreaming. This is underlying energy, so it can be like subconsciously something is coming to the surface here now, that it becomes conscious for you. Something that may have been in the subconscious mind or in dream state is now suddenly becoming conscious to you here. And like she's laying on these this flower bed or tree like branch bed here. Now I hear something like you lay as you sow, like you can only if the seeds that were put in here have a limitation to it. Like if the seeds of a rose bush has a limitation that tells it to stop growing before it actually starts developing the rose flower, then the seed grows and grows and then it stops. It doesn't know how to evolve beyond that stage because the seed has been maybe somehow damaged or it has been limited somehow. Do you get my point? It's like the DNA of whatever rose flower you are has somehow been tampered with, I feel like. Tampered with in the sense that it never get to develop flowers. Or the sense of becoming bigger, brighter, desired, loved, appreciated, attractive, but also receptive, because the flower opens when it's ready, right? And this is where the bees come. Right? So I get the feeling that there's something about having a very vague feeling of developing the rosebud. And I want to say the rosebud, like kind of, that's the culmination of your beauty. It's like everything you draw up becomes this beautifully creative, you could say, outburst of fertility. That's what the rose is. It's the crown, right? When you look at a rose, you don't look at this, right? You look at the flower. It's the center of attention. It's the I feel with any flower, the flower is the desired portion of the flower, right? The colors and everything is the desired part, you could say, of the entire flower. This is needed, of course, but it's basic. It's basic, something basic about you. It could be the feeling you are basic or you're plain, like again this. That there's a vagueness, a plainness to you, almost designed to be plain. Like you are not, you haven't been given like some kind of attention to become big and bright and attractive and beautiful and desired. You are designed somehow to be plain. And when you are plain, as a rose, when you are plain, the bees, they fly around you to somewhere else, meaning that you never attract what you need. If you never attract what you need, you become codependent. You are suddenly now dependent on what is given to you by someone else. When they choose to, when they have the time, when they look at you, and even if when they don't look at you, maybe you wither down, right? Because you are not watered. You are suddenly limited to, I want to say, someone else's kind of attention when they want to. But because you have no rose, they don't come easily. They don't come often. They don't come regularly. Because what you have is not very attractive. It's plain. You see, so when you are plain, you are not you don't attract to you what you want. And somehow I get the feeling it's designed. It's almost part of your DNA. It's almost part of, I don't know even if I can like make this collective, like this is feminine. And again, remember, not gender specific. There can be men here as well who hides, who are designed somehow to be plain and others to blossom, right? Others are blossoming and the plain gets attracted to the blossom because this is what they don't have. They miss the flower themselves, so they get attracted to those who do. I talked about this again. It's like you don't have your own flower. You don't have your own compass. You don't have your own shine or confidence. Like making the flower blossom is where you suddenly stand out. You show your full color. You show your full potential. You show your full grace, right? You show your full heart, perhaps. And when you are not doing that, you come across as plain, even maybe designed as plain, like your look is plain, your clothes choice is plain. You are not, maybe you don't even feel comfortable with the idea of wearing a crown and standing out or becoming a majesty. Like, like owning this fact that I am big. I can be this star. I can stand in the spotlight and show all my features. Maybe you don't even feel comfortable with that because you have somehow been designed to be plain, I feel like a plain Elaine, right? This kind of not to stand out, not to I don't know, what was it? I said something about the lightning in one of the readings. Lightning goes where it's easiest. So when a lightning strikes towards the earth, it goes towards the things that stand up like trees, right? Something that is not plain, you could say, that is not plain land, something that stands up, that shows itself, that decides I'm bigger, I'm higher, I decide to go towards, I want to move, I want to grow upwards here, I want to show myself, I want to stand in, I don't hide, I don't want to be plain. So I'm designed somehow to go upwards. I want to go upwards, like a tree, like a trunk of a tree. Anything that rises up stands out from the plain, right? Everyone that speaks their mind stand out of the plain group. Now suddenly they become visible. It's about something that is visible. When the lightning comes, it goes for something that is easily visible, easily detectable, and it goes there, right? And maybe that's also what is part of it. You didn't want the lightning to strike, meaning that that could be something like being bullied or being yelled at. Like if frustration or anger was taken out of you, you never wanted that, right? And maybe you designed to become plain. Again, this blending in kind of invisible idea that, and when you blend in, you become plain. You are part of just the major big group. You don't make a fuss around yourself. You play yourself small somehow. Because to stand out and actually blossom means that you could get the attention of someone who has just put lightning on you, which would destroy the rose, right? So maybe you somehow needed to become plain. Maybe you needed to downplay yourself somehow, to blend in. Not to get the anger of someone all the time, not to get the frustration taken out on you, right? And maybe you needed that. But in that process, something was not really developed well here, right? Every time you may have tried to just build a little rosebud, it was peeled off by someone, maybe. By something. Maybe you even peeled it off yourself because it was a risk factor for you to have it. Every time a little red leaf tried to grow here, you had to peel it off maybe, because then you would not be plain anymore. Now suddenly people would see you. That's what we do. We get attracted to the color, right? The bees get attracted to the color of the scent and the scent of someone. You needed to, I feel like, blend in somehow. Downgrade yourself, even descend yourself and energetically to somehow blend in, maybe here. But to remember who you really are, you need to heal it. You need to heal the water here somehow. Maybe you need to water your rosebud here with the right things, the right words, the right maybe that's what you're doing here, down here. Maybe that's what you're doing down here. Healing the waters. I want to say of the womb, like a reparenting. It could be your own womb, like your own sacral chakra. It could be something like you're literally in the process of healing lineage wounding here. And you're still showing up as this plain Elaine here. Because you're still wanting to blend in while you're doing something here. I still want to say that something from a dream could actually come to the surface here. Something is revealed inside and breakthrough. Again, as I said, maybe you're realizing some of this, that you have played yourself plain. You needed to, maybe, to survive something. You had to become the plain Elaine. Right? But now it has become maybe like a nuisance, right? Maybe it has now become like a real problem. Even to the point that maybe you have realized this a long time ago, and you want to be able to now build this blossom. Like, I want to grow now. I need to develop. I need to grow from this plain Elaine's level, or this plain Elaine dimension. I want to like rise up and be able to like develop my rosebud here. And to do so, you need to nurture something here. Heal something. And maybe forgive something also. I don't know. Even forgive yourself for maybe, like as I said, maybe someone took the leaves off you, or maybe you decided I need to take them off myself because I have to stay plain. Otherwise, the lightning comes towards me and I can get killed by it, right? So take it how it resonates. I have to stay plain here. Not raising my voice, not standing out. I just have to become almost invisible here. I have to be able to hide at, like I have to not stand out. Like I just have to become this invisible part of a crowd somehow. Even though I feel like I don't belong here, that this is not me. I'm hiding somehow. And maybe I needed literally to peel off my own rosebud leaves here because this was somehow a danger to my existence, and somehow I get the feeling it's not just about your life, Cancer. It's more, this is about the feminine. Like the feminine had to hide herself. She had to hide her psychic gifts. She had to become, again, she has been in earlier times, if the feminine actually shows her true mystical colors here, she of being psychic, of being the shaman, of being maybe even a dark feminine, right? She could become haunted, right? She could become haunted. Many women has been hanged or decapitated by the beliefs that they were evil, right? If they performed some kind of witchcraft or something like that. Or even from just being beautiful or seductive, right? Women have been told to wear scarves, or even more, like totally embedded in like some kind of dark, I don't recall what they are called, like a dressing gown of some areas of Islamic belief. The woman cannot show anything, like no hair, nothing, not their face. You know, like there has been a sense of discrimination about some part of the feminine aspect. I'm not here to judge religion, right? I'm just here to read what I get. You can believe in whatever you want, right? It's just what I feel like. It's like the feminine has been hiding herself here. Not speaking her truth because it was a danger somehow. And Cancer, somehow I just get the feeling that you are kind of, it's like you are the channel of some of this, like you feel this more strongly maybe. Maybe you feel this more strongly somehow. Again, it relates to mother, right? It relates to this idea that it's inherited maybe, or it's given. It's almost like a feminine secret. Like you are carrying some kind of secret a moon secret, like the mysterious feminine, right? That you are carrying some kind of moon secret. And only when the environment is safe, you can bring this forward. Only when. Otherwise, you have to hide it. You have to keep it out of sight. You cannot bring it forward. Because there's danger related to it, right? Again, you can only dream about it, maybe. You can only be here in dream state. You cannot really perform any of this in like you cannot perform what you could really do, Cancer. This can only happen in your dream space or at night time. You can only show your full flower hidden somehow. Do you get my point of this? It's something like that. Another flyer here. The sun in reverse. Yeah, you're not happy. You're not happy. But it could also talk about the sun being the father energy. The father energy talks about fire, right? It talks about light. It talks about spotlight, attention. It talks about confidence, go-getter energy, like the need to stand out, the need to like attract attention. That's what the sun energy wants, right? It needs some kind of we see the sunflower in the background here. It's a big, big flower, right? The head of the flower here. The head of the flower is much bigger than the rosebud. And it's a very tall plant. It straightens up quite tall, taller than most roses do. It's a different kind of plant. And maybe you have been dealing with a person like this, like a father energy here, Leo energy. This is Leo energy. Leo energy is the one that always believes in himself. Always. That's the Leo energy is the lion, right? The lion is the king of the animals. This is the one who deserves respect and recognition and is treated like royalty, right? It's adored, it's appreciated, it's applauded by the residents of the kingdom. It's very big in nature, you could say. Big in nature. A big aura of some sense. But it was reversed here, and I get the feeling it either because, again, as I said, there could be something about the father attention not being there. The feeling that there was no father attention, or a wounding around the father. And that, again, the lack of attention from a father makes the feminine energy, no matter whether it's in a boy or in a girl, if you are not allowing, if the father is not allowing it shine on the child, it leaves the feeling of the father energy is also compass, right? Direction. It's you could say when the sun is there, everything is visible, everything is seen. We can see where to go, right? We can see where to go, but if this is not present, you're left in the darkness somehow. You don't have a compass, right? You don't have light to see where you're going. You don't have direction somehow. And I've talked about this feeling of a lacking compass before in some of my readings. That's what I feel like. If the Father energy is not present, you lack some kind of direction. And if you lack direction, and again, if the Father energy is also not present here telling you that you are wonderful, that you are beautiful, that you are gorgeous, that you mean something, that you are important to Him, that He loves you, that He puts His shine on you, right? He puts attention on you. If that is lacking, you feel unimportant, plain, right? You feel like you don't matter, like you don't matter. And I say Father again. Remember, this is the masculine energy. If the masculine energy doesn't choose to see you, and again, masculine energy can be dominant in male or female, right? It can be, maybe your mother was the most masculine, right? You take it how that resonates, but maybe you see what I mean by this, right? If they don't put attention on you as a child here, like they don't see you, they don't choose to see you. They don't choose to tell you. When the masculine energy shines on you, it puts its light on you. You get attention. They see you. They acknowledge you. They play with you. They talk to you, right? They care for you. They warm you up, right? The sun. They warm you up here. But if that is not present, you feel left out, plain, non-important, unworthy maybe. Like you don't matter. Or definitely you may also have feelings like you are not desired, like you are not attractive, you're not beautiful. You are not worthy of their attention. They have other matters that are more important, right? You don't feel like you matter, right? Death in reverse. Yeah, I get the feeling it's like, actually I get like living death, like you're living, but with a lot of grief, right? It's not really living. It's not really living. It's like it's something you couldn't let go of. Maybe this person is not even alive anymore. Who somehow presented this to you. It's almost a feeling like I half live, or the plain Elaine, right? I only half live. I live only half because I carry some kind of grief, or I haven't let go of something here. Death is Scorpio. Scorpio is like the deep waters here, the deep, deep waters of something. Like you haven't revisited maybe all of the waters, or you haven't dived deep enough. You carry something. It's almost like even in death, like if a certain person is no longer alive, even in death, they call on me, right? Even in death, something is here. Or I haven't been able to let this go somehow. I haven't put an end to something. I haven't put an end to suffering. Again, this feeling of a rose plant that never gets to blossom. It's like only a half rose, right? Maybe even less than that. So how do I want to put these cards, please, for it's like this has been here somehow as a game stopper. The crossing cards are typically an obstacle or something, but then I feel like it's sliding, like something is sliding out here somehow. I almost, when I look at how it actually, in here, it's still within the plain Elaine's color, right? But when it slides here, it somehow allows you to connect with what's underneath. You see, like it acts as some kind of bridge now between the plain Elaine state of being and something underneath it all. So that's quite interesting. Okay, underlying energy here, Knight of Swords. Well, Knight of Swords is, I want to put him up here because somehow I get the feeling you don't, like, this is conflict. Someone coming in with like very strong beliefs here and one truth, and they come in and they race against the stream here. It's like the wind actually pushes or wants the trees to somehow go this way, right? But then someone is trying to come in here like pushing something, like they go against the wind here with some kind of truth. Maybe that was you, like pushing against before you chose to become plain Elaine here. Maybe you decided actually to speak your mind here, but it was against the trees, right? It was against the trees' natural state of being. And maybe you decided to speak up about something here, but you got a resistance, like you experienced resistance here. This is like a tension, right? A tension of dynamics. Maybe this is a tension you have been in for a long time of, I want to say, minds. Like the minds are not... I said something about this. This could be the color, the blue color represents, water, but it could also be like throat chakra, identity. It's something about communication, word choices. It's something about truth, right? What we believe in. And this could be you, right? That you have a sword here and you feel like you have something to say, but what you found was that you experienced resistance. And maybe this resistance created a lot of tension. And if you were a child, maybe you needed to bow to this and hide your truth, hiding it, right? But I feel it's still there. It's underlying energy. It's still there. You still rebel. A part of you is still rebelling against the forest here. The land or the family, whatever you grew up in, whatever this means, you're still rebelling against it somehow. Or you feel resistance or resentment against something. It's underlying energy. You have something that wants to boil to the surface, something that wants to be said. I just have the feeling because you have experienced resistance before, resistance to the point where you cut off your own head, the rosebud, where you hit yourself here. I get the feeling of, again, this silent, that this is your choice. The plain is, Elaine, is, well, it's a hiding spot for you, but it's also, I feel like, a demonstrative kind of non-verbal demonstration or rebellion of some sense. But I want to put this up here as in far away, like choosing to do this, I feel like is long gone. Like this approach is not what you choose to do now. It's like it's in you, like you have it. As I said, it's like in this silence or in this plain kind of beingness. There is a lot of words, actually. There's a lot of words in this, but it's not non-verbal somehow. It's non-verbal. Let's have a look at the center card, because this is always important here. The Hierophant. Taurus energy. Someone is I almost wanted to say someone is in your heart. And so this can be part of you, right? It can be that you have someone, something like this inside you. Like you actually have a speaker inside you. Someone who has a message. I said that already. This is all about message. It's all about message. But I still get the feeling of like the approach here, the blending in choice. Maybe at some point it was literally to defend yourself or to hide something. But now it comes across almost like a weapon. Like you use this as a kind of sword, right? You use it as a message. But again, the Hierophant may use other channels, right? He is like a preacher. Like he could be a he may use like the Hierophant represents tradition. He represents, you could say, the tradition and belief of marriage, of well, I want to say church, I want to say constitution. He represents the idea of some kind of order to it all. Some kind of order to it all. A traditionally bound, maybe religious, maybe not, but following maybe still some of this idea that the male is one kind of figure in a family and the woman is like one role, someone who is maybe attentive to roles in society, like the males have a certain role, the feminines have another role. There's an order to who is in charge, perhaps, somehow. I said something about the Hierophant is in the heart of your reading, and or maybe in the heart of you, but maybe that's the problem. That this guy, if this one represents someone in your life, it's Taurus energy, maybe a Taurus, someone who could have very strong beliefs about something, who has been always preaching to you, maybe as children or to the family, seeing themselves as maybe better or stronger, wiser, someone who knows best, maybe, but quite bound to tradition. So speaking the words of that, right? Speaking the words of, again, maybe gender roles, traditions in family. Someone who maybe likes the idea of marriage, likes the idea of family, right? Marriage also constitutes family usually. Then you have children, right? So there could be something about legacy also, head of a family legacy or something like that. But someone to a certain point, they like some kind of order to the, I wouldn't say chaos, but order to society somehow. Hierophant can explain society like something about the pillars, that something needs to uphold something, like uphold higher values of civilization or civil behavior, something about roles, and again, with Hierophant comes a sense of order, and order always have some kind of leader and follower tendency, right? Someone is preaching something and someone is following, right? So this one would be someone who somehow likes that. They like the idea that someone is in charge and someone is following, because that brings a sense of order to something. It brings a sense of pillar to a society, perhaps. Whether it's religious or it's maybe not literally religious, but this idea that you still uphold some of the values of maybe gender roles somehow. Because and the reason why I say that, because I feel I get the feminine role here very present, like so there could be, and I say this could be in your heart, like maybe you have adopted something into your heart. Again, this can represent a father figure, right, or a mother figure. The Taurus is feminine energy, right? But And maybe you do have this in your heart, like some kind of preaching in your heart. Maybe you have a preacher inside you, right? Someone who would preach for feminine rights, perhaps, or something like that. Someone who actually would stand up. Because this is someone who, as I said, who stands up. They put themselves on the speaker bench here. They decide to speak up. They decide they have a message to spread. Maybe this is what you have in your heart, Cancer, actually. You do have someone who wants to do this. Who wants to speak your mind. Right? Who wants to be a healer, or who wants to be a priest, a comforter. A priest can be a comforter also, right? Someone who gives, who allows comfort and appreciation to people who may come to him, right? Who seeks comfort, guidance and comfort. You have that inside you, perhaps, but to yield it, you have to stand up, right? You can't be plain Elaine. You have to decide to be this one and actually go out there and stand up. Even if you will receive criticism, right? Even if people don't like your message, even if you speak about, feminine rights or whatever you want to talk about here. You have this inside you, right? I feel like this is deeply embedded in your heart. You could be some kind of preacher, some kind of messenger, a writer, someone who has a message. This one has a message. Someone who is deep down inside, Cancer, you have this inside you. This is probably your rose button. This is where when you decide to embrace this, you shine your light here. And people can see it. Now the bees can come to you, right? Now they can come to you. But it's like as long as an obstacle was here, I feel like, blocking something. You didn't see this, right? Or you couldn't access it. Let's have a look. I feel like this can be like mother and father energy. Something around you. Something that has been impacting this. Two of Swords, indecisiveness, confusion, again, there's something about the water here in the background that this also comes with a sense of like time is of the essence. I have to make a decision. But I don't know which decision to make, or I don't know with which truth to speak here. Which truth is the right one? Feeling blindfolded and not knowing which way to go. I feel like this could represent one of your parents. Like this is what you got from them. Like could be from a mother. I have moon here, I have water here. Again, this idea that I have to go back to the womb. Maybe in the womb, this is what you got. Confusion, right? Not knowing which way to go, what to lean upon, which truth to believe. Maybe you have a soul truth and you got another one from your mother, right? Or again, she sits here with two swords, but she's not fighting, right? Because she doesn't know what she's fighting for. Having no direction, perhaps. It's dark here. She sits in darkness, and the water is flowing in. Soon the tides are coming in. She will be all swept over by the water here. She has to make a decision, but she can't see anything. The vision is gone. She can't see her dream. She can't see what she's fighting for, right? So she's confused here. She doesn't know what path to follow, which truth is right here. This is confusion, indecision. not knowing which way to go, feeling blindfolded. Again, this idea that blindfoldedness can be this feeling that, but I never got to like figure out what my rose is. I never got to, I wanted to maybe, but then I was warned, right? Then I was warned not to go that way. And it kept me in this feeling of, I want to do something, I want to say something, but if I do, I could get in trouble, right? And when you don't know which way to go, you usually procrastinate, right? You usually just sit here. Not knowing your way forward. Again, this feel of no compass. I don't know. If I had the compass, I wouldn't sit here, right? If I had the sun to guide me, I wouldn't sit here. I would know. I would be able to see. This feels motherly, I want to say, with the water and the moon here. The darkness is feminine, right? The feminine feels procrastinating, not knowing which way to go, not knowing which way to move forward. And if this is inherited, like if this is a part of you that comes from your mother and your grandmother, if this is like inherited, you have to, maybe that makes sense to you, right? Over here we have a father, maybe the father energy. So I get the 7 of Cups here. I don't know if this is father, but I want to say these two energies are impacting why you may not still see, again, look at this. It's like the Hierophant, right? This is you as a Hierophant, but a blindfolded one. You have one truth in your heart here. Also about how great you could be, right? That you do actually have a sense of confidence here. But you were told something else, I think, and this confused you. Maybe you were overswept by a lot of emotion, like a lot of maybe, I don't know, criticism or blame or something. And it took your vision away. This other sword you were presented with took your vision away. The light was gone. You had no direction. You didn't know where to go. You didn't know which one to believe in here. And it got you to sit and procrastinate. It's like a blindfolded Hierophant. Right? I also feel like, because the Hierophant is typically speaking within a temple or a church or something, he has the security of this big church. The pillars are holding up something that he kinds of thrives in. That's his territory, that's his domain, right? But here you sit without any pillars. There are only water here to come and surround you, right? There are no real pillars here to help support your statement of something here. Feeling very blindfolded. That's what I feel like. A Hierophant in distress there. Not knowing which truth to follow. Maybe having like, literally having two voices in your head, like one going in one direction and one going in the other. And it's confusing you and not helping you moving forward. It's not helping you to grow and develop into a Hierophant. Then you just sit here. Here we have Cups energy. But this is not a very good cup energy here. The Seven of Cups talks to me about feeling very incomplete and seeking some kind of outside validation, seeking something outside of yourself to somehow feel more complete. This is someone who feels, you could say, as I said, also like the plain Elaine, like unimportant, shadowy, standing in the shadow, someone who is not willing to step into the spotlight. They stay out here because this is maybe what they learned. This is where they feel more comfortable. Again, this could be the same person, right? They stay out here near the water, in the shadowy form, not knowing which way to go, like an indecisiveness. This is someone who doesn't know who they are. Not really. And when you don't know who you are, you tend to somehow want to connect to someone who does know. There's light on these, but there's no light on you, right? There's light on these. I want to say this can be someone who gets very easily fascinated or attracted to something that blinks out here, something that feels very desirable to you, right? Something that feels emotional, feels very attractive to you. This state of being can be a place where you can easily be scammed. Like you can be drawn into like con artists, right? You can be drawn to people who promise you stuff. Like they promise you everything, but it's just hollow, right? But you get attracted to it, right? You get attracted to mystery, maybe, adventure, fairy tales. You get attracted into a world where something seems so beautiful and bright and light and everything here. This can even talk about creating an imaginary world here. An imaginary world when you can be something else than you actually are. You will get attracted to something that could confirm that we are more than this. Right? Like you meet someone who tells you you are so beautiful, right? But they only want your money, perhaps, right? They want to get you attached to them somehow. And you are an easy victim for that. Right? Because what they have here, what they promise out here, is what you are secretly wanting, right? You want maybe to be famous and victorious here. You want all the glitter and the luxury. You want to be strong as a dragon, right? You want to be fierce and bold and climb the highest mountain, whatever this is, right? You want to be all of that. You want to be much, much bigger here. So you can easily become attracted to someone who would promise you something here. And you would maybe fall for it, Cancer, because it's what you deep down desire, right? Your water is calling for it, right? It's calling for the beauty. It's calling for something that feels better than sitting here. If this does represent one of your parents, I want to say it's someone who is not very much in tune with their own emotions, this person. They constantly seek some kind of outside validation. If this makes sense, you had a father like that They probably seeked attention where it was easiest, so where it was easy for them to find it. And maybe if you were the child, it was not you, right? Maybe they chose something else, not you. Again, as I said, if this is you, right? If this is you, right? The plain Elaine, the rose with no rose, the rose plant with no rose flower. Of course, you would get attracted to something that seems like the flower, right? Maybe this is inherited, as I said, like from mother to child, inherited, that if we don't feel that inner glow inside us, the compass, the feeling of I know who I am, this guy, he knows who he is because he's speaking his mind, he's speaking his belief, he's speaking his religion, his truth, right? He's speaking that. He's standing tall here, he's wearing his crown, his scepter, anything. He's speaking his oath, what he believes in, what he has pledged his allegiance to, perhaps. He speaks that. And he speaks it in good faith. He speaks to the best of his knowledge. Maybe he doesn't know everything, right? But he speaks to the best of his knowledge. This is what he is wanting to teach others. From a spiritual guidance, from the idea that I'm guided by God as a priest, or I'm guided by the divine somehow. I have a higher knowledge that I want to share with other people in my temple. But it's like, I get the feeling that you don't have that temple, right? It's like feeling like a crab without a shell, not feeling that you are comfortable. You're in the water but without a shell, right? Or like without the compass. Let's have a look what this is. Temperance. Interesting. Temperance is a card of divine timing. I believe it's Sagittarius energy. It talks about blending of the water, right? It talks about a path that you are on here towards enlightenment. A path. 1 foot in water, 1 foot on land. As I said, it's like you are drifting to a shore here. So you are partly on land, partly in water. That actually makes sense here with this card coming up. You're partly in water and partly on land. You're touching both, right? And you're on a path towards enlightenment here. But it may not have felt like that. Like your inner Hierophant here is, I think he is becoming stronger, this one, but it has been he has been, and I have to ask why. I have to ask the cards why that is. It's almost like he has been temperance is divine timing, so it feels a little bit like this can only come forward when the time is right, right? This one can come forward when the time is right. The time has to be right. And as long as this lays as a crossing card, the time has not been right. The time has not been right to heal your inner Hierophant. You have been in constant healing, I think, Cancer. But it may have felt like, almost like someone has blocked your view here. That something has blocked your view, right? That whatever this is, it has blocked your view somehow. You couldn't see, like, you couldn't become the Hierophant here and see clearly, right? That you may have felt like you were stuck mostly in this position. Because something was blocking your view here. You couldn't see clearly. And I feel like the Temperance as a crossing card, it's because the time wasn't right. The time wasn't right. It's almost like the message you have to convey here, the message you have to talk about is, I hear otherworldly. It's like the world wasn't ready for it. Like the world wasn't ready for it. But I also want to say, because I say it's like he is in your heart, so it's almost also like your heart wasn't ready for it. Your heart wasn't ready for it. And we see Temperance here, blending of the two cups, the yin and yang, the masculine and feminine energy. It's like, and we have the sacral triangle here. It's like the path you are on, it needs a lot of healing, I think. It needs healing here. And this takes time. But this is like a divine, this is major arcana, so there is someone is actually helping you, I think, here. Could be a guardian angel or something. They are actually helping you, but it may not feel like that. They are helping you to become ready in your heart. I feel like your heart needs to become ready, healed here. To reveal this one. You are on a heart healing quest and towards enlightenment, balancing of the yin and yang here, like balancing back and forth with the two cups here. An inner process, probably an inner process of healing this Hierophant. Trusting. I get also the feeling that there's something about trusting that you can do this, trusting you are safe also. Again, and speaking the right words, right? Speaking the words of, I want to say, divine energy here. It's like you are protected by the divine until the time is right. Until the time is right, but I also get the feeling, I said, it's like this has been it may be the feeling that you have been in a blindfold here. You have been in a blindfold, not knowing your compass, not knowing the right things to speak, perhaps, or the right things to believe in. Like it's like you haven't found your voice. You haven't found the voice that resembles the compass. Again, as I said, the Hierophant, he knows his truth. Here you don't know it. You're confused. Here he sits on a throne in a temple, his temple. He speaks his truth. He is not doubting this one. He has found it. He knows it. He feels it in his heart. It guides him. It's a part of him that it lives with him, in him constantly. Like having a source connection, right? A connection with source energy. He doesn't doubt his words. He trusts in it. He has faith in it. He trusts in whatever this truth is for him. And he's sharing it. There's no doubt here. He feels it in his bones, right? That's what I feel like with this Hierophant. But here you don't feel it in your bones, right? It's not quite there yet. You don't see it clearly. It's like it's just confusing you. It's leading you down different paths. You get swept in your emotions. You don't... Yeah, there's no compass here that directs you out of these waters. It just confuses you. And the time has not been right for you to maybe fulfill your full potential yet. It's like you are healing here, I feel like, to finally blossom the rosebud, right? To let everyone see your crown and your color, right? And we have like red here. Like this could be the feeling of finally am I able to blossom my rose flower. That this is your rose flower. A truth teller of some sense. Someone who speaks their truth, their communication. And maybe you have tried to once, right? Maybe you have tried to once, but it only got resistance. It only got you into conflict. It only got you into resistance and walls up and blocked communication maybe, or rejection of some sense. And again, there is an interesting thing about this one, because he sits in his temple or in his church. And people come to him now for his advice, for his comfort, for his understanding, right? But they come to him. You don't need to chase something here. You don't need to bring down walls to get your message through. This is like against all odds, you bring your message forward. This guy doesn't do that, right? He sits in his temple knowing that this is who I am. This is what I feel connected with. This is my truth. I speak my truth. I am the most honest with myself. I feel it in my bones. This is everything I am. And because of that, you are now shining this rosebud. And those bees that feel attracted to that, they come to you now. They come to you, right? They come to you. But there has been a probably, I feel like, a long period of time. Maybe this has taken your entire life. That finally it's somehow shifting here. I said it's like it was sliding from here to here. And what I feel like is that it's allowing you now to have access to something underlying, something that has only been like playing out in your subconscious mind or in your dream state, something that is down here, that may have been suppressed, hidden, right? So what is that? I feel like I would like a kind of understanding about that. It's almost like whoever is helping you here is giving you a bridge, showing you a bridge to something deeper underlying. And I get the feeling it's almost like it's Gaia, like Gaia energy is speaking to you here about the feminine. I get that kind of strongly somehow for you. So this is not just your own it's not just your own subconscious. This is like the mother, the deeper moon mother Gaia energy, I feel like here. 8 of Pentacles. I get the feeling it has to do with, this talks about seeing the result of your labor. Seeing the result of what seed you put in. And actually I talked about something about seeds in the beginning. Something about you lay as you, what was it? You lay as you have sown or something. It could be like a realization that the seeds you have put into stuff especially if they were wounded seeds, only create woundedness, right? That kind of feeling that you are realizing something about and like an underlying matter here. Maybe also literally realizing how the seeds, like Mother Earth seeds, how they somehow never got to. This one wants to speak to me as well, so I take it out. This one wants to speak. Wow. Again, yeah. Get your blindfold off here, right? Here you can't see. You swept up in worry. But I get the feeling you're getting to a point now where you realize there is something deeper underneath it, something inherited, something brought from one generation or from one mother or one feminine to another. And we have been hiding it. It has been hiding maybe in plain sight, but I couldn't see it. I couldn't see it. It's like it was hidden from me. Not explained or not supported somehow. Another card here, 6 of Swords. 6 of Swords talks about, in this case it comes across as saying goodbye to something. I let something go. It's like I say goodbye to someone, or I lost someone. This is like the ship then in old times. I feel like when someone died, they were put on a boat and they were sent out on the ocean. Sometimes there was a fire lit also, but the boat was sent to the ocean. 6 of Swords, I really feel like it has to do with leaving something behind because you chose calmer waters. It talks about that. Leaving a situation behind because it was unsettling. It was not good for you. It was a truth that may not have been yours. And you're leaving that behind. Maybe it comes with the idea that the truth that has confused me is linked to a person. It's linked to the one out here. And I somehow have to distance myself from that. I have to let it go here. But I also really feel like doing it with love. Like even there's no cups here. I feel like when she stands here, this is not easy. I think it comes with like a lot of love for this person, but also knowing they confused me. Like their truth was never my truth. Right? Their truth was never my truth. I have to let this go somehow. It's the only way I can get this blindfold off my eyes here. So can I get a card on? It's almost like this even wants to speak, like elaborate on the story. But I would like a card on this temperance. What this is, this temperance here, please. Why it has been acting as a blindfold, I feel like. But that could be something like the reason why they didn't they didn't show you something from the beginning, why it was here, and then slowly it has now created a bridge to something underlying here. It's because of the healing you have went through. At some point in time you had no access to this subconscious way, this dream state, this underlying here. You had no access to it. But because of the healing you have gone through, slowly but surely, it has now created a bridge. You are seeing something now. You are seeing something from down here that is now allowing you to become the Hierophant that you are actually supposed to be, I think, that who you actually are. It's like it's almost a bridge between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind. That I feel like you get help here. Something is helping you here. But can I have maybe 2 cards on this, please? 2 cards, please. Because there are 2 cups, so let's have 2 cards on this. It's a balancing back and forth between maybe your yin and yang, right? Energies. Between your up and down, your dark and bright, your father and mother energy, your inner states of you had to become ready, I feel like. You had to become ready to be a channel of something. Maybe to become this channel of Gaia energy. Let's have a look. 1, 2. Okay, interesting. Very, very, very strong energies here. Look at this. Tower and 10 of Swords. What is being created with the Temperance here? That some kind of tower is breaking down. And 10 of Swords is that you have been carrying some kind of truth, maybe a lot of people's truth here. And it has weighing you down. You still have your sword here, but you had to be confronted with a lot of other swords, and this has weighed so heavily on you. It has confused you, as I said here. There may have been a lot of swords around you. You couldn't figure out which one is mine. And you have been carrying all this stuff around you here, trying to maybe please everyone. Like please everyone's sword here, everyone's truth. Maybe that's how you somehow became the plain Elaine, right? Because you forgot about your own sword here. But this has been extremely exhausting to to like hide maybe behind or in a stone here or in this mountain, and at the same time feeling the weight of everyone else's projection or beliefs here, everyone else's guidance, everyone else's like thoughts and beliefs and maybe religion or whatever this is. All kinds of truths here have you been carrying, but it has not been yours, right? You have one, but you have forgotten about it. You see, he's not even able to fight with it anymore. He's exhausted, right? But this exhaustion comes to an end. This exhaustion comes to an end when you finally breach something. It's like you finally breach, like you could say, the wall between the conscious mind and the unconscious mind, or the ego and the self. I said something about the lightning always strikes something that is standing up, right? Something that stands up, like a tree or a building or something. It will not go for the plain. It will go for something that actually that is standing up for itself, you could say. Maybe you realize something here, that at some point in time, your temple, your tower here, that was standing up, it received a lightning here that threw you to the ground, and you were suddenly without a temple, right? You were suddenly without the feeling of a protection, a home, a feeling of being at home in yourself. Suddenly you were exposed to all other kinds of projections here. And all these kind of thoughts, they were hurting you. Look at, he is wounded here, right? It's a woundedness that doesn't allow you to take action. And this is the masculine on his knees here, exhausted. Right? Something struck here. Something was striking you at some point. That somehow your defense mechanism, or your, as I said, the pillars here, the pillars that uphold your truth, the pillars that are your protection, the pillars that should be the safety that guards you, right? They were broken down at some point. They were broken down. And it left you, I want to say, defenseless, a feeling of being defenseless here. That everyone could strike you somehow. And maybe this is what you're realizing, that what is laying down here, right? What is down here. And of course, if we look at this, of course this makes sense that you then developed into a plain Elaine, right? Because if you felt so wounded that you couldn't even yield your own sword, you had to become, you probably were exhausted, you had, and weak, you had to become this vague, maybe weak personality, hiding, right? Hiding yourself down here, feeling so unsafe somehow because you felt like there was no defense, you couldn't defend yourself. And now you are now becoming able to see this. You're becoming able to see this here. Right? You can become a channel for some of this message here, right? We can even say that well, the tower is something that stands up, as I said. It takes the spotlight, as I said. It can be like the father, the masculine energy in you, that at one point in time, maybe it was here I come, this is my truth, and then you met some resistance, maybe rejection, maybe you were abandoned, right? But what happened was that it's like the masculine part of you were thrown to its knees. The standing up, the putting myself in the spotlight, to make myself known. This is where I can also get criticism, right? The lightning here could be the feeling of angry attack, like something attacks you very angrily. And it breaks down all this, like the feminine, or you can even say like the phallus, right? The masculine stands up, right? It makes itself seen. It goes into the spotlight. It speaks its truth. It has the confidence to stand there. But we see, and you did. The tower was here. It was standing up, right? But the lightning came and it broke it right down. Something very big and electrifying, very angry maybe, broke it down. And it has been here ever since, feeling like vulnerable, feeling unworthy, wounded, right? It's something that, like I have no defense, I have no power to fight back. I have no willpower. I am now constantly influenced by what comes towards me here, right? I'm wounded. I'm wounded in my heart here. So the masculine part of you may be wounded. It may be not able to take action. And it has left you indecisive here at some point, right? You didn't know how to take action. You were left in the feminine energy, right? Because your masculine was so wounded here. And she didn't know how to figure this out, right? The feminine, she's not a go-getter. She's not a doer. She resides in the darker realms, right? The more mysterious realms of emotion and empathy and psychic gifts and so on. You have been hiding here in plain sight, not feeling that you have the rosebud. You don't feel you have that confidence to stand out, to be that spotlight, to be the one that everyone puts their attention on. Maybe you don't even like it. It feels uncomfortable maybe that people look at you. I get the feeling that you have been healing maybe for a very long time, maybe since you were a child. And now you have somehow created a bridge to see some of this. Maybe even to realize a big, big masculine wound. How the masculine is wounded. Not just your masculine, but in every person, right? That the masculine is wounded in every person. And how that is somehow coming to the surface. If a man is very wounded inside, sometimes they use anger to deflect, right? They use dominance to deflect. And maybe that's also what you realize, that suddenly you can see something from a different perspective. It allows you now to realize, okay, this is why I have felt maybe so indecisive, why I had no compass. And maybe you are now in a process of healing your masculine energy here. And in that process, you may not want any interference, so you stay plain Elaine here. You don't want anyone to see what you are actually doing here. Secretly, maybe you are building this one, right? But you're not showing. You're not showing anyone. Can I have a card on the dream here, please? The dream. And again, the Temperance card is a path to enlightenment. But it's a journey. It takes a while. It's not just something that is offered on a silver plate the first night, right? Maybe you also had to become ready to see this. If this was handed to you firsthand, maybe it would have devastated you. Maybe it would have. You would not have been ready to face this, perhaps, right? Okay, the dream card, please. Can I have a card on this one for Cancer? I get the wise woman of Wonderland, integrity and compromise. So this is what I feel like. The wise woman of Wonderland, this is you, right? It is you. But it's like you have only access to this, or you have only had access maybe to this in dream state. It could even be that this one is the wise woman that talks to you, but only when you sleep, or when you are in trance, or when you dream. You have access to this one, and she is guiding you, right? Look, she sits on like a pedestal here. Someone who's very wise here, right? It says the wise woman of Wonderland. Well, Wonderland, we all know Wonderland. Alice in Wonderland. That's a creepy place, right? It can be a rabbit hole if you are not wise here to figure this out. It can become a rabbit hole, right? You have to navigate this wisely somehow. I feel like you are... Someone is helping you here, I think. Something is helping you. It can be your own inner guidance somehow, a part of you that really wants to come to the surface, right? That's why you get attracted to it outside yourself. Your soul really wants to heal this somehow. It's also interesting that this is the Hierophant, because the Hierophant is like depicted as masculine, right? And here I talk about the masculine energy being very wounded. Because this could have been the High Priestess, right, for you, Cancer, being a feminine sign, right? But I really feel like there is an emphasis on the masculine energy here, a masculine wounding that we all carry, and yours is now coming to the surface. What it's about, I feel like, Cancer. You could even be the bridge healer of this, for humanity, for all of us. It's like you're bridging something here. You have gotten access from the more superficial plane and wounded place into a deeper place, the womb, I want to say. You are actually literally operating with the womb here. Womb healing, I think. Sacral chakra. Can I have a card on temperance? And another card on temperance. Who is temperance? Who is temperance, please? I feel like it's like kind of higher self, a part of you that is higher self related. Who is temperance for Cancer, please? King of Pentacles, look at this. This is a part of you, inside you, right? King of Pentacles, this is earth energy. Hierophant is earthy. Taurus energy. Look at this. Like I can't make this up, right? This is a part of yourself, I want to say. A part of yourself that can be a king, right? It's a voice inside you that it has never left, that says, I have something to offer here. And it's big. The King of Pentacles can be very rich, right? Well off, very secure, very safe. Very, the King of Pentacles is like the catch. This is the one that, that has it all. And you see, he sits here in his throne, but look at how relaxed he is. Right? He's relaxed in the spotlight, in the idea of being big, of being a king. He's relaxed. Look at his posture here. He's quite relaxed. That's what I feel like. You have something here that is helping you somehow to overcome something. Like this guy, like when he sits like this, it's difficult to imagine himself being a king of anything, right? There's something, a part of you here that is really wanting you to succeed. At the bottom of the deck, I get the Page of Pentacles. Yeah, I feel like whatever this is, it wants you to step into the Page of Pentacle energy. Look at, he sits here very relaxed and holds this pentacle. It's almost like he's asking you to become more playful with it. Don't be so attached to your security or vulnerability. You are safe, right? I'm holding it here for you. It's still here. this part of you is still here. Start engaging with this. Become a little more loose in your play with this more earthy element. It could even be the idea, trust in the land, trust in the earth, right? Okay. I see him like he's tossing a ball here, like trust it, right? Trust it. Try to get in tune with the idea of having more security, more money perhaps, more safety. Taurus energy is also second house, about safety. Like all your primary needs are met, that kind of feeling. And with this guy, he has it. He has everything here he needs. Earthy, right? Food, money, anything. Temple, whatever, pillars. He's safe here. Can I have a card on this remembrance, please, for Cancer? And again, remember that you are cardinal sign, Cancer. So you are cardinal sign. Well, cardinal talks about like high cathedral, right? Hierophant. It talks about you have a knowledge, you have something that can, like, you can become your own priest, you could say. You have a voice inside you that is so strong that cannot be denied, I feel like. Yeah, that's what it cannot be denied. No matter how much people try to push you down, you have some kind of light or voice or something inside you here. The remembrance card, list of the shadows. Yeah. List of the shadows. Look at this picture, how she is climbing, right? Ascending upwards here. Like you're remembering something that is giving you an ability to rise up, I feel like here. Like something is list of the shadows is allowing you to see something that comes from the shadows. She comes from the shadows into your conscious mind here. Card number 44, which is a divine number. I even have a 4 over here with the dream card. Can you see that? You can't even see it, can you? 4. It says 4. I think one more. I would like one more, please. What is she bringing, this list of the shadow? Can we have a little more about that, maybe? A little bit. Tobias of the waters. I get the feeling, yes, something is coming to the surface. Like we see that she comes from down here and she rises up, right? So from deep down, from your subconscious mind, maybe, from your hidden realm, something is coming up to the surface here. And what she brings here, list of the shadows, what she brings to you, some kind of past feelings and emotions. Tobira of the Water talks about that. It's like you can't really get through this without feeling, without feeling the emotions, past feelings and emotions, resurfacing. Yeah, that is what it is here. But it seems like I don't get what it is. Yeah, it's healing the shadows, addictions, bondage, self-esteem. Ultimately, Liz of the Shadows is trying to help people develop true self-respect and self-esteem. But she has to start much further down, exactly. The scale of idealism. She has to start much further down the scale of idealism than that. Right? She has to start where you are, right? If you are here, she has to start there. She tries to inspire practical help for those who need it most. She is the inspiration for the first wobbly steps taken by a damaged soul towards healing. Yeah, that's what I feel like. Her presence in the reading indicates that something that had seemed lost and fixed in that loss is now open to healing. Someone is ready to begin, with help, the climb out of the inner mire. There is hope here and a need for loving kindness tempered by practicality. If you call upon Liz for assistance in helping another, she will always give it. Often by encouraging that person to be receptive and others to also be helpful. She always has time to support those who have time for others. So this is a deep one. Damaged soul, right? Something that seemed lost and fixed in that loss is now open to healing. That is very beautiful, Cancer, but I'm quite certain it's not very easy and not very fun. But again, I feel this strong connection to like the womb. Like this is something that has been, I get this feeling it has been carried and like with the next generation kind of just given somehow. Either in the womb or in like your upbringing. Tobira of the Waters talks about emotion, sincerity, meditation, gracefully accepting the change that comes, right? Water is mutable, changeable, fluid, and Tobira speaks to us of a particular kind of change of emotions, and possibly a change in health. We have important choices to make about how we meet those changes and where we let them take us, towards the calm, flowing purity of the fairy water or the boiling conundrum of hot temper and steamy emotions. The choice is obvious, but we sometimes forget that we have it. Tobira reminds us that we have a choice, and making it wisely or unwisely determines our future. The things we need in life remain constant, no matter what is going on or how hectic the changes and pressures in our lives may be. We need nurturing and love, and it is ultimately up to us to provide that for ourselves. The healing fairies will help us if we ask them to. Yeah. You are on a strong healing path here, Cancer. If you resonate with this somehow, it's and I have a jewel within a teardrop here also as the next card after the dream card here. So there may be tears here, right? Like very strong emotional tear releases, purging through tears perhaps. It says appreciation and spiritual and emotional reconnection. Yeah, I feel like that's what it is. Like you're reconnecting with something. Something that seemed lost somehow. There's definitely something about not believing in yourself, not believing you have what it takes somehow. Like this idea to stand up and be your, like, something who is seen. Someone who is, someone who is seen. Someone who demands attention also. Someone who wants to be seen. That you were punished, I feel like. Something very, very drastic came in here and threw your pillars down, your defense system down. Again, I talked about this feeling that this Hierophant, he has the pillars and the temple roof to protect him, right? This is like a holy ground or a holy space. Even during war, sometimes churches have been bombed, but sometimes like the churches are seen as places for refugees to go, right? There is some kind of sacredness about temples and churches, like, and even foreigners, even enemies respect that sometimes, right? And I feel like maybe you're doing this, you're trying to build your own temple here now. You're want to build something again here. Some pillars here. You're wanting to build this again. Like your you could say fortress or your tower somehow. Your crab shell or whatever this is. The feeling that you lost your crab shell. And feeling very like defenseless, very defenseless, easily wounded, and now you realize why, right? And you realize why, and you also realize that I'm building something here now, so that I can stand here, or I can sit here and I can speak my truth without feeling that my line is on the line. My life is on the line, right? I can speak my truth without being stabbed here. Because I know now how I can protect myself. So this is what you're learning, but I get a feeling it's maybe probably a slow learning. Maybe this has been going on for years and years and years. Especially those of you who may resonate with the idea of not having the compass, right? It's because your soul has been damaged somehow. Your soul got hit. this is what I feel like I have for you. Maybe I could maybe take an advice, maybe for you, Cancer, to end this reading. So this is very deep stuff. I'm so sorry for you here. I relate, but and I'm sorry if you are really standing in the midst of this very pain here. But again, you're a cardinal sign. You're so much more than this. You don't even know it. An advice at this time: the High Lord of gratitude and service, selflessness, humility, conscious action. Okay, yeah, so that could be an advice, right? And then at the bottom of the deck, I get the Word Lord. So maybe the High Lord of gratitude and service. So if you believe that you get to become more and more like this, you get to become more and more like the Hierophant. Maybe you need to write about it or talk about it. Start speaking your truth somehow. Maybe write it. Like some of the wisdom that you have acquired. Selfless service, humility, conscious action. Somehow I get the feeling it's almost like maybe you should allow people to see some of this. Look at, he holds this lotus flower, right? Maybe you should allow someone to see it. A little bit like as I said here, maybe you should let it out of the cage, right? Maybe you should actually show it. Like maybe you can show some of the stuff that you have figured out. I get the feeling it's safe. Like it's safe to show some of this now. It is the advice card here. Could even be that it says here, Word Lord is communication, praise, but also dishonesty, right? These cards always comes with a pro and con, or a ally or challenger here. I get the feeling as an advice card, I feel like it's okay to take conscious action and reveal something here. I feel like that would be okay. But why do I get the feeling that it's directed towards is it directed towards someone specific here? Who or what or how? This lotus flower or this rose that you have, that I feel like is the pentacle here. I get the feeling it would be all right to let some of this spread, like some of the words you have, some of the knowledge you have gathered here. It would be okay to actually spread it. Like voice, that your voice comes out, right? Your truth. But is there a certain setting, or is it towards someone specific? Because I get very much that this is a very internal process, that you're going through something coming to the surface, but this feels a little bit like going out there. I get the feeling it's like it's okay for you to shine some of your light. It's okay for you to do that. Now, because I think you know something about yourself. You know something about maybe humanity as such. You know something about like a deeper masculine wound we are carrying that is deeply embedded maybe in the womb of the women. Like it's an inherited lineage wounding. And now I get owl. Yeah, I get the feeling it's like an owl again. Owl air energy here and workload, right? It's, I believe you have something to say here. You have a message. You have a message written or verbal or whatever. There is an insight here. Maybe you need to communicate something, write something. But there's another thing about the owl, because, well, the owl can say something, but it can also be silent and very observant. It can, again, this idea that it can spin its head, right? It can turn its head almost the entire, I believe, is it 270 degrees. It can turn its head in all kinds of directions, right? Like becoming someone who can see things from different angles here. And maybe that's an ability you have. This is an advice card, the High Lord of Gratitude and Service. It could be that maybe you, a good thing now with everything you've learned is that you put yourself in service, that you start offering something. You start to show, maybe literally put an ad in the paper or something, that you offer some kind of guidance, that you can help people see something from different angles, maybe. That you have something to offer here. As a coach or a guide or something. Maybe it's something about, maybe you write articles here. Maybe you write a book. Maybe you choose to share how you got yourself out of the darkness, right? What did you do? What did you do to get yourself out? Maybe share some of that. I also get the feeling that because I did have the Knight of Swords here at one point, but I feel like it's in the past, that you came in very radically here maybe with some kind of truth. Now you sit in a much more tempered, much more, again, it's this feeling that this one wants to come in with force, where this one is more like the Empress, right? You sit in some kind of knowledge here. But when you start showing this flower, I get the feeling this is where you are going to attract something to you, right? It's like, it's a shift. Like this is a shift in you. Recognize the shift that you have made. The owl can be a predator, but and will take conscious action when he really feels he has to, but otherwise he's actually just quite observant. He doesn't mind. He's a night owl. We talk about night owl, right? He's and now I suddenly think about, because this could be the advice here. Now I suddenly think about like night owl. Then I think about Tuti Baba from Nightlight Astrology. He's a Cancer as well. He is a Cancer Sun. He is an astrologer. Maybe, and he practices yoga bhakti. He could be a person like that. This could even be an advice to seek out someone who can guide you about your flower here, maybe. He sits in gratitude and service. He sits also in trust, this guy. So there's something about embracing maybe that kind of attitude towards life, right? That's part of the Hierophant journey, perhaps, to become someone who embraces the trust, the belief in what you are guided by here, the shine, right? The shine is guiding him. He has the compass. He knows where he's going. He knows what he believes in. He feels connected, maybe even, to something more, to his higher self. He may feel connected here to this one. If this is your higher self, or your soul purpose, your mission in life, right? It's like he becomes more connected with that one. He holds the pentacle. He holds the flower, right? Become maybe more observant about when you can shine your light here on something. Instead of just butching in here, right? Instead of just being this reckless, maybe butching in with your opinion, then wait and observe. Is this the right place for me to share some of this? If I feel like it is, I can do so, but I do it in a selfless manner, not to it's not to get anything back. I choose to share something because it feels right and I can be of service somehow. This is what I feel like I have for you, Cancer. I hope this helped you somehow. I wish you the very best out there, Cancer, on your soul healing journey, because that's what I feel like you're doing here. And maybe for more than yourself, like maybe for a lineage of both feminine and masculine energies here. So I salute you. Take very good care of yourself. Thank you for everything you do. Be grateful and appreciate yourself, right? Really appreciate yourself. You are empaths. You do a lot of healing work on earth. Take care of yourself and love yourself, right? I send you my very best, Cancer. Love and light to you. Bye-bye.